Hey, it's Mr. Barr, and we're going to do exponent rules powers today. Let's get started. Goal: I can work with positive and negative exponents. Why? This is a tool I'll need to have for high school. What is the area of this square? Well, area is base times height or length times width, so 5 times 5, correct? But what if instead of it being 5 feet on each side, it was really 5 times 10 to the third feet? Well, then this would be 5 times 10 to the third times 5 times 10 to the third, or 5 times 10 to the third squared. We need to know how to raise powers to powers. So we have two rules that we already know. So we're going to do a little review. Let's get going with our notes here, though. So name, and our title is Exponent Rules Powers. And we'll start with a review. So if I have x to the second times x to the fifth, that equals x to the second plus 5, which equals x to the seventh. And we call this one base add. So this one is multiplication. We also have x to the fifth over x to the seventh, which becomes 1 over x to the 7 minus 5, which equals 1 over x to the second. So division is actually subtracting the exponents. Multiplication, let's add the multiplication into our notes. So multiplication, we add the exponents. And today we're getting, actually, let's do these two examples first. So what would this first one be? Right? This guy, where am I? I have a base add, so it's going to be x to the 12th. And here I'm dividing it, so it's going to be subtraction. This is going to actually be x to the 15th minus 7, which is going to be x to the 8th. Okay, so that's just a little bit of practice right there. But now, what do you think is going to happen? This is heart to the third would be heart, 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 right? Correct? And happy face to the third would be happy face, happy face, happy face. Good. So what would this be to the third? Well, this would be this kind of goofy, right? Because to the third just means, hey, write it out 3 times, right? So what is x squared to the third? Well, x squared to the third is really x squared times x squared times x squared, isn't it? We're going to get that into our notes. What is x squared to the third? x squared to the third is really x squared times x squared times x squared, because a third is just saying, hey, multiply it 3 times. Well, this is really x squared times x squared times x squared, which is x to the what? X to the 6th, because this is base add. So instead of doing this each time, though, look at this. You see that 6 right there? What's 2 times 3? 6. So we call this power, multiply the powers. Power to a power, I multiply the powers, because 2 times 3 is 6. Because x squared times x squared times x squared is x to the 6th. We can see it right here. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 7 is 21. And this really does work. If you don't have to write this down, but this works. If I look at this guy, this is x to the third to the 7th power. This is x to the third, x to the third, x to the third. I know this is annoying. X to the third. I got to keep going. X to the third. I got to keep going. X to, is that 7 of them? Is that 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. X to the third. That is x to the third to the 7th. And what is x to the third? It's really x times x times x. And what's x, right? You see look at all these x's. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. This is x to the 21st. That's what's going on. I could expand it out like that, or I can just go 3 times 7. 3 times 7 is better. How about this one? What would this be right here? 5 times 7, this would be x to the 35. 3 times 10, x to the 30th. Ah, it's time for a Twix problem. Get your notes ready for a Twix problem. 3 delicious problems in one. Ooh, with an exclamation point. And we'll do this one. We'll do 4 x to the third squared. Well, what this is 4 squared and x to the third squared. See, this isn't a Twix. This is actually a Reese's peanut butter cup. But so it's 4 squared. What's 4 squared? 4 squared is 16. And what's x to the third squared? That's x to the 6th. How about this guy up here? So this would be 2 to the third. 2 to the third is 8. And x to the third, which is x to the third. We just did this one. 4 to the second, which is 16. And 3 times 2, which is x to the 6th. This one, 2 to the third power is 8. X to the third, multiply it. 3 times 3 is 9, x to the 9th. Y to the second to the third, multiply it, is y to the 6th. All right. And that's my last slide. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.